Let's get into tramping mode now and head off with producer Sally Round to find out how people come from far and wide to trek over a coastal farm at the bottom of the North Island.
Hi team. Hi, it's Kiri.
Oh, hi, Kiri.
Sorry, I've got my glasses. Yeah.
How's it going?
Good, thanks. Yeah,
Kitty Elworthy's come across a couple of the hikers on the Tora Coastal Walk, a 3-day supported hike the family runs through their farm and along the neighbouring coast.
Yeah, so which way are you guys going to go?
We're Tora Coastal.
Right.
Here, where the Pacific meets the steep hills of the North Island's southeast coast, the sea can be big and the wind brisk. It's dramatic and remote.
It was such a hot day yesterday. You'd be all feeling a little bit tired after that, I would imagine.
It was beautiful. The last beach house, though, was gorgeous.
There are 45 walkers at any one time on the 35-kilometre trail, which traverses paddocks, hugs the wild coastline and wends its way through regenerating native
I'll
bush.
see you tomorrow when you get back to Whakapata.
Great. Hey, great. Nice to meet you. Take care. Have a great day. See ya. Bye.
It's 30 years since Kitty's parents-in-law Jane and Ed Elworthy started the venture, with Kiri and James, also known as Sky, helping alongside. Neighbouring farmers Jenny and Chris Barge were partners in the walk for 25 years. But they've retired, leaving Kiri and her immediate family the sole operators. It's a working farm as well as a tourist destination.
James and I, my husband and I, run the home farm and we've been there for 32 years now. And we run sheep and cattle. We've got, that's a really bad piece of our road, sorry. We've got a couple of thousand breeding ewes and 100 odd cattle. Since during the 30-year history of living out here, we've bought a couple of other farms, but we run them separately. Our son actually, sorry, got a cattle stop there. Him and his future wife are running 2 farms for us.
So altogether, how many hectares have we got?
I think it's about 2,500.
And it's hill country out here, isn't it?
Very much so. Yeah, it's pretty steep. A lot of it is fairly marginal in terms of farming, and so we're really lucky to have that diversification of income.
We're just going alongside the river, so you've got a few features, some native bush and some forestry as well. Tell us a little bit about sort of the lay of the land.
Yeah, well, I think that's what our walkers really love about this area. We've learnt that people don't want to see the same thing for 3 days, so having that diversity of scenery is huge. So we've got the amazing coast, we've got the open hill country and the farming component, then we've got some beautiful native bush and also a little bit of forestry weaved throughout.
The walkers stay in original farm buildings, and on the coast, a purpose-built lodge.
So this is Stony Bay Lodge, which is night 2 of our accommodation.
There goes my hat. We're on the coast and it's a bit breezy.
Hold on to your hat. So this was built in 2014, and for many people it's the favourite place for them to stay because it's architecturally designed and it's obviously got an amazing view of the coast. So it's quite difficult to get people out of here some days. So the cleaning staff have learnt to work around people quite a lot. So this is Pippa.
Hi, hello.
This is cleaning for us for the school holidays. This is Sally from R&D.
Pippa's one of 8 full-timers who have jobs during the season, which goes from September to May and has attracted up to 2,400 walkers in recent years.
Our demographic has definitely changed. In the early days, I would say, on reflection, we only had a couple of hundred people per season back then, but they were generally 50 plus forest and bird types, usually seasoned trampers. Our demographic has widened hugely. If you asked me what our typical walker was, I wouldn't even be able to answer it because we get family groups, we get book groups, we get old university friends who are having a reunion, groups of young mums who have planned it for 18 months and have left all their children at home, having a bit of a lair up at night and then doing something wholesome during the day. Just all sorts.
After 3 decades, they're even seeing the second generation of walkers come through, most of them women.
Can't think of anything better. Someone else carrying your packs for you, food prepared, beautiful coastal walk, yeah. And my mum did it in the 1990s. Many, many years ago, yep. There were 4 women that did it, and here we are, probably a similar age, doing it ourselves with our husbands looking after our kids at home. It's great.
And some, like Olga, are repeat customers.
My name is Olga Sawyer. I work for ID Tours, and we look after cruise lines and international clients who come to travel to New Zealand and visit all these beautiful destinations in our country.
I asked Olga whether this is the sort of experience her overseas clients might be looking for.
It suits definitely people who don't want to stay overnight in the camp, in the tent, or worry about comfort or perhaps health that doesn't allow them to do such strenuous exercise, as carrying all these heavy backpacks on their backs and doing all this crazy walks through the high heels. So,
and what about being on farm? Is that part of the experience?
Yes, there is very little of it elsewhere. So New Zealand allows for this to happen and to walk in your farm and just absorb your environment and all these beautiful animals walking around those hills right next to you. It's quite special. Not only spectacular landscape, but you're also so welcomed by the local people, and they are so friendly. You feel like you're at home, or even more.
In the very first few seasons, we really felt like every season was a bit of a bonus. Back then, if we'd known we were going to still be operating at such a level 30 years later, I would not have believed it. Because it takes a long time for you to really feel confident that there is going to be a continued market for you. We kind of felt like we would almost run out of people that might want to come and do the walk, but what we've actually found is that the appeal is broadened.
That broadened appeal has meant a more sophisticated backroom operation. A few kilometres away, near the final night's accommodation, is the hub, including a veggie garden and kitchen, where cooks Justine Dunshay and Susie Fisher are busy on tonight's catering. And on the menu tonight,
roast lamb and asparagus with Parmesan cheese, Greek salad, smashed potatoes, and what was the dessert? White chocolate mousse and berry coulis.
Are there old favourites that go back to the very beginnings of the walk?
Yeah, we still do quite a few of the older recipes that are in the cookbook, but we are developing new salads and things quite often during the season.
What's coming out of the oven?
Muffins for afternoon tea.
Logistically, it must be quite a thing, getting the meals out and then going to 3 different places.
I think we've got it quite down packed.
Yes.
It's quite a good system going.
And then we've got the challenges like today with the wind, with deliveries for Susie, getting the van door open and getting the food into the houses can be a bit challenging when the wind's blowing like this. But
Every dish now goes into a plastic box.
You've had a few whoopsies.
Yes, we have. A few things have slid around in the van, haven't they, Justine?
When you started the walk 30 years ago, was food at the top of the menu?
We fell into the food being a big draw card, I think, because we were foodies and we decided to cook things that we liked. It became apparent very quickly that the food was a big draw card. People started talking about it, started telling their friends about it, and we just ran with that. I think the irony now is that it's probably the component of this experience that costs us the most money, the most labour, and the most thought is probably the thing we make the least money out of. But we know that we need to keep doing it and keep doing it really well to keep people coming.
Quite interesting how many walkers say that they actually put on weight on the walk. You would have thought if you've done a big walk that you'd lose weight, but no. I think with the amount that they're eating, quite often they go away putting on weight. So.
Farming steep land buffeted by salt-laden winds isn't easy. The Tora Coastal Walk has allowed the Elworthys to expand and develop the property and to farm less intensively, so that Kiri's husband James, who has Parkinson's disease, can keep working on the land too.
So when your mum had the idea of putting a walk on the farm 30 years ago, what did the family think?
Yeah, I kind of thought she was a bit crazy. But she's prone to doing crazy things. And she just knew it would work.
Do you think you'd still be farming if you didn't have the walk?
Possibly not.
So it's been really important, I guess, for the farm to have this income?
Oh, hugely. Yeah, we couldn't... Well, as you said about farming or not, very hard to survive. I mean, we would, but we wouldn't be doing things much. Farm sheep and cattle and people. That's what I tell the walkers. My stock numbers have decreased over the last 5 years.
How much by?
A couple of thousand stock units.
What would it have been running before?
4,500.
What are the challenges of having a whole bunch of sometimes townies on the farm?
Mostly townies. Sometimes leave gates open, but not very often. You've got a very low footprint on the farm. I mean, you hardly really know they're there. They walk out, they're gone. They walk back and hop in their cars.
Would you recommend to other farmers to doing something similar?
Yeah, yes, if you got the right formula, the right person running it.
Yeah, they need to have a Kiri though, wouldn't they?
Yeah. You want to go on that one, huh?
Sky does joke that we farm sheep, cattle and people. That's what we're trying to avoid it looking like. You know, we like every guest to feel like they're the only person that's come on the walk this season, you know. But as they go round the three places, they do end up getting a sense of the scale of what we're doing. But it's all going on behind the scenes, and so it is a massive commitment. You can't have 45 people on your properties out there walking and go away, you know, for the weekend or for we're committed, yeah.
Fortunately, they have the next generation to help, the Elworthy's son Guy and his fiancée Abby.
Guy, you've come back to farm?
Yeah, come back. Been 7 months now.
Kiri was saying that people, if they get caught out on the track or they need help in any way, you have to drop everything and help out.
Halfway through a muster, you have to go and help the walkers. Yeah, we carry radios, so if they radio you, you sort of have to go and rescue them. But it doesn't really happen that much.
No.
Only a couple of times this season, yeah.
Talk about some of the tensions or challenges between having 45 walkers on the farm every day and trying to run a farm, trying to run an operation.
The biggest challenge is probably gates being left open or not shut properly, and that's the biggest one. We haven't had too many box-ups, but we've had rams escape into one of our biggest paddocks. And
Ooh, what happened then?
oh, well, they were with all the ewes, so we had to draft them all in. But that's the main problem, would be gates.
And what about bulls and people interacting?
It's not really much of a problem. They don't really see bulls, and the bulls we've got, they're all quiet and you can pretty much pet them. So.
And do you try and have some farm operations going just to kind of entertain the walkers sometimes, or is that...
Not really, no.
No?
No, that's just by luck if they get to see us mustering or anything like that.
And is that part of the draw card for some of the walkers, do you think?
Probably. I'm sure they'd love to see that sort of stuff. But yeah, like I say, it's just luck of the draw.
Do you have much interaction with them? Do they want to know why you're doing certain things?
Yeah, we see them quite a bit. We probably see them on a daily. But yeah, they do like asking questions about the farm and all that sort of stuff.
So as you go forward with this now pretty large farm, 2 more farms have been integrated into the operation. How big a part do you see the walking side of things?
We're here because of the walk, really. The walk's enabled us to be out here farming, because it's quite hard for farmers, quite tough these days. So buying more land's sort of out of the picture for a lot of people.
Guy's partner Abby says more native tree planting is also part of the plan.
Yeah, with sort of my environmental and geology background, I guess Kiri and I share a vision of looking after the land and fencing off some areas to retire and more plantings and whatnot. Everyone's sort of looking at farmers' environmental footprints now, so I guess it's important to be seen to be doing the right thing. And yeah, we have all these walkers coming through on the daily, so we want to be seen to be doing the right thing for the land.
So it all dovetails in quite...
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I think any farmer that has the public on their land on a regular basis really starts to open their eyes to the environmental side of things a lot earlier. Most farmers in New Zealand now are so across the environmental issues and doing their absolute best to mitigate, any negative effects. But I guess that sense is heightened for us because we have people examining closely what we're doing on a daily basis. We have to be beyond reproach, really.
Did you learn some lessons pretty early on?
Yeah, I think one of the cold hard facts of farming is that things die, and we often get because a lot of our walkers, they're mainly urban dwellers. That's been another interesting shift over that 30-year period, is that the disconnect between urban and rural and the lack of knowledge for a lot of people about farming is really obvious to us. And we get an amazing opportunity to educate people about farming. And we find on the whole, everyone is really interested. In fact, it's very hard to get them back to the health and safety at a briefing because they're so interested in the farming.
The walkers' bags are all lined up at Green Tops Homestead. It's where walkers spend their final night before heading back inland through the regenerating bush.
The rural delivery guy has dropped their gear off. He's done the whole run now, so he also collects the gear from the people that were here last night. So we have 2 quite distinct places that the gear must be put. And I do remember in the good old days when the kids used to help me do the luggage on the weekends, doing it with a couple of 3-year-old toddlers was always a nightmare because, they always wanted to help, and so you had to have some strict rules about where they grabbed things from. Sleeping bags would get mucked up a little bit, so yeah. But it's like a military operation, really, so yeah.
Have you had the same people doing the bag transfer all this time, or
no.
How has it changed?
Over the 30-year period, we've had probably a handful of different mailmen. They've all been great. We've just had Derek... has just retired, so we have had Derek for about 10 years, and he was really part of our team, so it was really quite sad when he retired. But we've got 2 lovely, energetic new people, a husband and wife team, and they've embraced it. I guess it's been an interesting social kind of what would you call it, enterprise in a lot of ways, because we've always employed from within the community. We've the mailman's getting this spin-off. We've had to renovate houses. We've always got plumbing issues, and we're getting the electrician in quite a lot. Which is
and
really
has
great.
It drawn more people to the community over the years, do you think?
We've certainly had to bring people in because our community has changed a lot over the 30-year period. We've unfortunately lost our little school, so it's getting harder to attract people into the area. And so more recently we've had to bring people in, and we've done a combination of things. We've had some internationals doing backpacking around New Zealand who've come for a season.
Yeah, because I suppose with the increase in forestry around here, you would have lost a lot of those people who might have been employees in the past.
Yeah, not only forestry, but also just the decline in farming. So people are just not employing as many staff as they used to. So back in the good old days, we would generally have a shepherd's partner that was keen to do a season of cleaning and or cooking, and that's just not the case anymore. So it's getting harder to get employees.
With 30 years' worth of history, Kitty is planning a history wall.
There's going to be pictures in here.
Of individual walkers and stuff?
History over the years.
That's a good idea.
You know, little awards we've won, and like I've got a photo of the very first group of walkers that ever came through.
So much for the past. What about the future? Kitty would like to see similar farm walks band together to support this sort of agritourism in Aotearoa.
Over the 30-year period we've been operating, we've seen other private farm walks come and go. They either get so busy and they had no idea what the commitment was, and so they close, or they don't attract anybody and they close. So I think at the moment, agritourism is due for an absolute boom, and I think it's a great opportunity to harness that and build a really well-recognised industry, because a lot of people don't know that private walks on farms are an option. We all know about the so-called great walks, and so I think there is an opportunity here with a lot more private farm walks in the pipeline to band together and collaborate on marketing opportunities. There's still so much scope. You know, I've got ideas that I feel I've run out of energy for, and I always joke that you've got to leave something for the next generation. Can't do it all.
Kitty Elworthy, who alongside her family and team runs the Tora Coastal Walk on the family's Wairarapa farm. That story produced by Sally Round.